Hello and welcome to Market News. When we last spoke, Masha, you had talked about this tussle between valuations and earnings. You also made an important point back then that even though the markets had derated here in India, but comparatively we were still at a 30% premium even back then to other peer markets. From a purely valuation and earnings point of view, how attractive does the Indian market look to you at this point of time?
Well, I think the further derating has certainly taken place. Also an interesting part has been the bifurcation of the market. I think if you were a big believer in the reestablishment of higher trend growth, your mid-cap space probably contains a number of jewels. The attractiveness of the market could also be measured through seeing the derating of the growth sectors or formerly growth sectors that have some cyclicality. So if you were to look at a number of private banks in India, again, those have derated pretty substantially. They're not back to their trough multiples experienced in 2008, but they are not very far from that. So I think that if you were to believe that the banks are solvent, that private banks will have capital, and that the downturn is not terribly severe, that from the cyclical perspective represents an interesting value. Now, on the consumer side, we've seen continued execution, let's say in the staple space, but valuations in India and in emerging markets in general have become very, very rich indeed. So I think that's an area where it's more difficult to see strong returns from here, though clearly over time that sector will still perform given a very strong structural underpin. But again, I think the starting point, the initial condition is not very favorable.
Hello and welcome to Market News.